Hey, welcome back to Beer Geek Beer Reviews, and I'm going to be doing this one along the lines of more along of an official review. I have not had this beer until the other day because of the fact that when I got into this beer game, it was discontinued. And as a pretty much like a one-time offering, or maybe just a rebrew while I was in Boston, period. I visited Samuel Adams, Boston factory, the what I want to call the small batch brewery, um, you know, 3 4 times. But when I was there, I noticed they are selling growlers now, and here is one said growler. I got to taste this beer, as you can see, little a little under half already, and I thought I would do a official beer tasting with it. Now, this beer is, and I have the tag with me from Sam Adams. This is their honey porter. It says 5.5% porter. But I also have the particulars pulled up because I wanted to do a official viewing of this beer as I go ahead and pour. Nice little hiss there. And I will pour. There you go. Let it create a head there. Um, this is like I said, it's a porter. Like I said, it comes in at 5.5%. It also has 38 IBUs. It uses Spalter Noble hops, East Kent Golding, and Fuggles. So, if any of you out there have been watching my video reviews, I am particular with most of the Noble hops, and I also love some Fuggles. Um, they are very earthy. They are they give off more along. Oh, that is nice. If you can't really see that, let me bring it up a little closer and get it. It's got like that nice garnet hue to it, which if out of the light, it appears black. I took a picture of this last night. It had a bigger head on it. It has been refrigerated for a while now, and it is quite cold, so flavors might be muted. So that's another reason why I wanted to taste it both ways. I had it last night. It was out of the refrigerator for a while. It was room temperature. I got a load of flavor out of it, and now having it chilled, been in the refrigerator for probably along the lines of like 12 hours at least, and but to carry on with this, it says that it uses Samuel Adams two-row pale malt blend. But that's another thing that I wanted to explain, especially being from the factory. All of their, no matter what you read on their website, all of it is part of their two-row blend. Um, they let you know that they got a lot of their blended malt or two-row malt from the Pacific Northwest and some from Canada, etc., etc. But when they talk about Munich 10, Caramel 60, the Carafa malt, Carafa, the Wayman's Carafa malt, that is a specific blend that they use when they call the Carafa or Caramel 60, Carafa 60, Carafa 30, Carafa 120, Carafa, etc., etc. That is all just how do I want to say this? It's all part of their roasting blend. They take their based two-row pale malt and then they roast it to a specific color or a specific roasted temperature. They get darker, they get more flavorful. You'll taste more caramel flavors. You'll taste more, burnt flavors, maybe coffee, maybe a little bit of toffee. Even their chocolate malt, when they roast it, and its almost appearance is completely black or burnt color, as this would look in the glass. It's just their proprietary roasting that gives it the darker colors, and it's all still the same malt, just roasted differently. But to continue on, it just says they're Sam Adams yeast strain. It says they're ale yeast, so therefore let's go ahead and dip into this and assess, shall we? But like I said, you know, in the light, it gives it that nice ruby to garnet hues. Out of light, it is completely black in color. Um, Head has dissipated. I could probably get a better head once I drink a little bit and just pour it straight down the center, give it more aromatics. But when smelling it, you're definitely getting that roastiness. You're definitely getting that hint of coffee and chocolate. That is definitely front forward when in the aromatics. And I do like to say, if you take some of those malts and you crack them, and you smell them, that's exactly the aroma that you're going to get. You're going to get that shell and the fresh cracked um, uh, malt characteristic from the aroma of this beer. You do get a sweet breadiness from this, and I'm calculating that to the honey. Um, but as we move on to the flavor, Prost. That's what I really love about this beer, is because it's very very easy drinking, but you're definitely getting a lot of that malt characteristic with a back note of substantial sweetness. You're definitely getting a lot of that cracked malt flavor as well as um, the coffee. It's almost like a bitter coffee, but yet you also get a little bit of like an espresso note. And then it moves into just a little hint of like a chocolatey um, malt back note. As for the finish, you're left with a little bit of earthiness, and as suggested with the noble hops are already there to probably cut back on the astringency of some of the bitterness of those malts that they could create with some of that coffee flavor. Um, Even a little bit with that bitter, dark baker's chocolate, it can be very, very, very bitter. Um, so I can assume that some of these hops, especially like the Spaltner is it gives off a little bit of a bitterness to it as well. But with the Fuggles, depending on the amount of the Fuggles and the East Kent Goldings are a little bitter, but they do a lot when it comes to aromatics and also a little bit of a floral characteristic. Not as much as the Hallertau Mittelfru, but kind of close there. It gives a little bit more bitterness. But overall, I mean, with the honey's going to raise the alcohol a little bit, depending on how much they use. But it's there to kind of tame and sweeten things up just a hair. You're definitely getting it. It's got that little substantial sweetness, but it also adds just a hint of a floral characteristic. Overall, I definitely wish that they would have came back out with this porter so everybody could try it. I wouldn't say that it is mind blowingly good, but it's a really good porter. I would definitely sit back with this in a mug and enjoy the summer days, man. It is Today is summer. Get out and enjoy life. Enjoy the good craft beer that is sitting in front of you, or that you will be having at the next pub that you sit down at. With that said, man, peace, pros, deuce, and as always, man, drink great, amazing craft beer. And as always, don't drink and drive, don't text and drive. Please remember that. And if you do, you're going to be paying more out of your pocket than what you did for said beer. Gross. See you up on the flip side.